So now I want to teach you about a concept called the multiplier. So what's the multiplier? The multiplier is for every buck that you pay in labor, how much do you charge the federal government? It's your loaded rate. So if you make $80,000 a year, and there's 2,000 hours in a year, so you're paying yourself 40 bucks an hour, 40 times 3 is 120 bucks an hour. That's what that looks like, right? That's the multiplier. So we've been doing this for a while, and our established DoD SBIR types who have escaped the garage and have now got some sort of a facility and a couple of employees running around and are starting to look like a legitimate business, I ask them, how's it going? When you proposed that rate to your customer, what kind of feedback did you get? So we ask our clients just a really simple question. Did you get any feedback about your price? What they basically tell me, what I hear is at less than 2.4, there's no feedback about price. They're considered inexpensive. There's no like, oh my God, it's how much? They don't get any of that. At 2.4 to 2.7, there's a normal business conversation. So this is how much, and we're going to pay you, and the guys will perform, and it's normal. At 2.7 to 3.0, they start to hear things like blah, 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 and shit, you guys are expensive, so this better work. And at more than 3, the government stops doing business with them. There's no generic answer. Everybody's got a case specific, right? So don't like run out of here and go, Ed told me 2.5 multiplier is gold. Now, I have a client and their multiplier is 3.4. And the federal government has no problem with them whatsoever. Because what they do is so leading edge, and they have so much internal intellectual property. They have so much mojo that the government goes, I can't buy this anywhere else. This is dynamite stuff. So they're an outlier, but they're competing against you for SBIR Phase 2 funding. And I'm not desensitizing that. I know you're all competing against one another at some level, right? When you fill out a proposal, you're going to write labor, overhead, materials, overhead on the materials, subtotal, fee, total price, right? So I take all my indirect expenses and I divide by direct labor. That's a single tiered rate, one pool, one tier. You could have 2 tiers. I've got an overhead and a G&A rate. Why would you have an overhead and a G&A rate? Overhead, the denominator for overhead is labor. So when my expensive engineers work on this, here's how much I'm going to burden it with. However, we also have a lot of materials that go into this. And if I only burden things for labor, then how do I pay for the shipping and handling department? How do I pay for the procuring agent that I have in my company, right? So I might have a separate G&A rate for my subcontractors, materials, travel, somebody booked the travel, right? So NIH pools costs differently. So what we see as normal for our NIH grantees, fringe rates tend to be 28 to 35%. So you set up indirect cost pools that most appropriately benefit your business. Manufacturing company, there's lots of stuff going through the facility. An engineering firm, the people are what drive the expenses, right? Our clients that are in San Francisco, 40. They're competing against Google for labor, so whatever you have to do to get the people to come work for you, you have to do to get the people to come work for you. Google picks them up on a bus, takes care of their dry cleaning, and feeds them. So what do? Right? F&A rate ranges 60 to 70% is kind of normal. So at certain sizes, the government expects you to become more and more cost efficient, right? You don't need like 12 more accountants because you're doing 20 million in revenue. So there's efficiencies, there's economies of scale. So as you get bigger, they expect your indirect rates to go down unless you're like making some whiz-bang stuff. Does that make sense? So all I'm really trying to do is give you an overview of if I take $1 in labor and I add all my overhead rates to it, how much do you charge the customer? It's just really it's like an aroma of getting you in the right area code, right? You're in the ballpark, it smells like hot dogs and beer and feels like a ball game.